I heard my son's voice through the static, calm, familiar, giving a stranger directions on how to break into my home. Not a metaphor. Not a misunderstanding, not a dream. My own child was hiring 3 men to rob the grandfather who once carried him on his shoulders, and the only reason I didn't drive straight to his house and drag him out by the collar was because, in the next breath, one of the thieves asked, "What about the little girl, the kid in the house?" My granddaughter. That's when I stopped being a man who trusted his family and became something else. A man with a radio, a notebook, and an ugly plan. I'm Malcolm Reardon, 71, widowed, a grandfather twice over, though only one of those grandkids still calls every day just to tell me what she learned at school. People look at my hands and see age. Veins like river maps, knuckles swollen from decades of work. They don't see what those hands used to do. I spent 42 years as a communications technician, police dispatch, emergency repeaters, airport radios, telecom towers that hummed like beehives. When your job is keeping signals clean, you learn every human lie has its own frequency. You learn to hear what's hiding behind words. After retiring, I kept my hobby, scanning. The world talking to itself in bursts, weather alerts, truckers, construction crews, teenagers on cheap walkie-talkies. Harmless. Then, one Wednesday in late October, I caught my son. It began as a hiss on a channel I rarely monitored. A clipped male voice, nervous, trying too hard to sound confident. "You're sure the old man keeps cash in the house?" Another voice answered deep and lazy. "Your boy said so." Then Ethan. My Ethan. 41. My only child. The man I raised to look you in the eye when he spoke. "Not cash," he said. "Documents, jewelry, an old safe in the office closet. He doesn't trust banks. He's old school." My chair scraped the floor. I leaned toward the receiver like it was a witness under oath. Ethan kept going, steady as a man ordering groceries. Friday night. He watches the 10 o'clock news, makes tea, asleep by 11. Porch light stays on, no dogs. Neighbor's a widower, bed early too. "You'll have 15 minutes, in and out." A third voice, higher, trying to sound tough, cut in. "Cameras?" Ethan laughed once. "One on the garage. It's dead since the storm. Inside? Nothing. He hates tech." Something in my chest gave way. I grabbed my legal pad and started writing. Times, details, the names I didn't know. The voices weren't careful. They were confident because they thought they were invisible. They argued about the split and what tools to bring. One called the other genius because he once tried to pry a deadbolt with a butter knife. Ethan didn't sound angry or desperate. He sounded like a man buying a service. "You do it clean," he said. "No one gets hurt. The point is the claim. Make it look real, scary. Take the safe if you can. Smash stuff. But no blood. You hear me?" The nervous one asked, "What about the kid? Your daughter? She there too?" Ethan's tone tightened. "She'll be asleep. Upstairs. You don't go upstairs. You don't go near her room. If you touch a hair on her head—" "You swear what?" the deep voice interrupted, amused. "You gonna fight us?" Ethan went quiet, then said, "Just do the job." The transmission ended with the thieves laughing. I sat in my kitchen while the radio hissed like a snake. Tea went cold. At first I felt an emptiness that scared me more than rage. My mind tried to make excuses. Maybe it wasn't Ethan. But he'd used a phrase. Old school. The same way he teased my flip phone. Same cadence, same throat clearing. It was him. I stared at the photo on my fridge. Ethan beside my granddaughter Lily at her 9th birthday, paper crown crooked, his hand on her shoulder. That hand had just hired men to terrorize the house where she sometimes slept. If I confronted him, he'd lie. If I called police too soon, he'd cover tracks and paint me as confused. An old man who'd finally lost it. So I did what I'd always done when a system failed. gathered data, then applied pressure until it broke. The next morning I acted normal. Normal is camouflage. I took Lily to school. She hummed and talked about magnets and paper clips. "You're listening," she said, bright. "Grandpa, you're really listening." "I'm always listening," I told her. She smiled like the world was safe. When she hugged me goodbye, her hair smelled like strawberry shampoo. I watched her walk inside and thought, if those men go upstairs, if they even breathe near her door, I will do things I've never done in 71 years. Then I went home and became patient. I pulled every spare radio I owned from the closet, old handhelds, a weather receiver, and a small transmitter kit I'd built for fun, strong enough to broadcast if you knew what you were doing. I wasn't going to hurt anyone. No traps that could injure by accident. But I could get inside their plan. Criminals forget the modern world is noisy. They think they're whispering, but they're doing it on a crowded street. These men were not smart, not disciplined. Stupid in the way that mistakes confidence for protection. Stupid can be guided. Herded. Spammed. I mapped their communications. Cheap FRS radios, short range, unencrypted. They talked like kids playing war. That night they were back. Deep voice complained about gas. High voice complained about cold. Nervous one asked too many questions. I named him Question. Then Ethan returned. "You got the address?" "Cedar Ridge. Green mailbox. White truck," Question said. "My truck." "Friday," Ethan said. 11:30. He'll be asleep. Make noise. Make it look real. You take what you can. You leave." Deep voice laughed. "Old man won't even know what hit him." "Don't be stupid," Ethan warned. That's when I decided I'd out-stupid all of them. After their chatter faded, I keyed my mic and spoke into their channel. "Test, test," I said. Silence. Then high voice. "Who's that?" I sounded irritated, like I belonged. "This is Dave. Ethan said you idiots couldn't find your own shoes without directions." Question snapped. "Ethan didn't say nothing about a Dave." "Because Ethan doesn't trust you," I said. "After what you pulled last time, neither do I." They went quiet. Stupid loves authority. Deep voice finally asked, "What are you talking about?" "The neighbor," I said. "Walks his dog at midnight. Ethan forgot to mention it. Dog barks. That's how you get caught." A lie, but useful. "So what we do?" High voice asked. "Garage side door," I said. "Less visibility. Quiet until you're inside. Then make noise. Forget hauling the safe. Too heavy, too loud. Go for paperwork and the jewelry box. Ethan wants proof the place got tossed." Deep voice grunted. "Okay, I hate hauling junk." In under a minute, they accepted me. I ended the transmission and sat back, heart steady. Now I could steer them and keep Lily away. Over 2 days I spoke sparingly, scolding when needed. Park 3 streets over. Wear gloves but not ski masks. No phones. They repeated my words like scripture. I prepared my house without making it obvious. I moved Lily's sleepover, told Jenna, Ethan's ex, I wanted Lily Saturday instead of Friday. Jenna looked tired, the kind of tired that lives behind the eyes, but she was grateful. I cleared pathways, set a lamp on a timer so the place looked routine. I put my old safe, empty, sentimental, into the office closet where Ethan said it would be. I wanted them to waste time on it. In front of that closet door, I placed a small battery motion alarm from my travel kit. It wouldn't hurt anyone. It would just scream, panic in a box, the kind of sound police take seriously. I called the non-emergency line and asked, "If someone is about to break in and I have evidence, what's safest?" "Call 911 when it occurs," the dispatcher said. "Do not confront. Get to safety." Friday arrived like a slow knife. I took Lily for ice cream after school, chocolate with sprinkles as always. She ate slowly, staring out the window. "Grandpa, do grown-ups get scared?" she asked. "Yes." "Do dads get scared too?" She traced circles in melted ice cream. Sometimes Daddy looks like he's holding his breath. When I dropped her at Jenna's, she hugged me tight. You'll call me tomorrow? I'll call you tonight. I sat in my truck, staring at Jenna's drawn curtains and porch light still on in daylight. My gut whispered. My gut had been right about Ethan. At home, my scanner crackled with the thieves, already hyped. Easy money, High Voice said. What if he wakes up? Question asked. Then we tell him to sit down and shut up, Deep Voice said. I keyed the mic. No talking, no threats. You're not in charge. In and out. Don't touch the old man. Don't go upstairs. They murmured agreement. Stupid loves being scolded. At 10:30, I killed the living room lights, left the porch light on, made tea I didn't drink. I sat with a book I didn't read, scanner in my ear and phone in my pocket. 11:15. We're close, Question whispered. I didn't answer. Footsteps outside. Metal scraping wood. My side door clicked. They were inside. I waited. Then the motion alarm shrieked, high and frantic, filling the house like an animal dying. The radio exploded. What the? Turn it off! Where is it? They ran blind. A body slammed a wall. Glass shattered. Clumsy. Loud. Exactly what Ethan wanted, and exactly what would get them caught. I dialed 911. Intruders in my home. 3 men. Entered through the side door. I'm in the bedroom with the door locked. Not true, but it got officers moving fast. Are you armed? No, I said. But a child sometimes visits this house and I need them out. I moved to the guest room closet. Solid door, second lock. Not for battle, for safety. The alarm kept screaming. Through the radio, Deep Voice shouted, Dave, you didn't say nothing about an alarm. I keyed the mic, furious. You were supposed to be quiet enough not to trigger it, you absolute fools. Get to the office, now. They obeyed. I heard the office closet yank open, then grunts and curses as they wrestled the safe. I let them waste time. We gotta go, Question gasped. You go when I say, I snapped. Ethan wants proof the safe was targeted. Tip it. Make it look like you tried. This is stupid, Deep Voice snarled. Ethan is paying you, I said. Do it. A bang. They tipped it. Then sirens. Distant. Then closing fast. Panic hit the channel. We're cooked. Back door. I keyed the mic one last time, low and dangerous. No. Front. Run left. Cops come from the right. Left is clear. A lie. My front yard was lit and open, and I'd texted 2 neighbors earlier. If you hear anything weird Friday night, call police. Humor an old man. Marla, a retired nurse with a spine of steel, had replied, Of course. The thieves sprinted out front. Cold air rushed in. A voice outside snapped, Police! Get on the ground! Minutes later, my house was full of red and blue light. Officers swept rooms, bagged tools, photographed the tip safe. They walked 3 men out in cuffs, each one matching his voice. The heavy, deep one, the jittery, high one, and Question, young and pale. As Question passed, his eyes flicked to mine. In them I saw fear. Not of me, but of Ethan. By morning, the house was quiet, but nothing felt normal. I gave police partial truth. I'd heard communications, believed a break-in was coming, prepared, called. I didn't mention Ethan yet. The scanner recordings weren't enough by themselves. I needed something that would survive denial and lawyers. At noon, Ethan called. Dad, I heard about last night. Jenna texted me. Are you okay? I'm alive. Did they take anything? Hurt you? They didn't get upstairs. A pause, then a sharp exhale of relief. Thank God. Too sharp. Too immediate. It's strange how fast you heard, I said. News travels. People talk, I repeated. He rushed in to help. Cameras, alarms, Stay at his house. I almost laughed. The men used cheap radios, I said. They said a few names. One kept calling someone Ethan. Silence, then a too-fast chuckle. Common name. Are you accusing me? He snapped. No, I lied. I'm telling you what I heard. Don't talk to cops without me, he said. You'll get confused. I'm 71, not senile. I didn't say senile, I said flustered. We hung up with polite poison. When I set the phone down, my hands finally shook. Not from fear, from grief. Hearing my son try to control me sounded like a funeral. That afternoon, I backed up my recordings in 3 places: thumb drive, cloud folder, and an old-fashioned recorder from my working days. I waited, because men like Ethan don't stop when plans fail. They adjust, and if he'd been desperate enough to hire idiots, he could be desperate enough to clean up loose ends. That night I drove past his house just to observe. New neighborhood, manicured lawns. Ethan's lights were on. At 9:20 he stepped outside, pacing with a phone, shoulders tight, hair uncombed, thinner than I remembered. A woman in scrubs appeared in the doorway. A nurse, not Jenna. She spoke to him, went back in. Ethan stayed outside, arguing like his life depended on it. He didn't look like a victorious criminal. He looked like a man bleeding quietly. I told myself it changed nothing. Betrayal is betrayal. Near midnight, my scanner crackled again. The same channel, but different voices. A controlled voice said, "You failed. Ethan is furious. He wants the old man scared enough to move out. He needs him gone. No more surprises." Gone. That word has weight when your son is making plans. I keyed the mic, calm. "This is Dave." "Dave who?" the new voice asked. "Dave who doesn't like being questioned," I said. "Ethan said you'd be smarter than the last 3. A faint laugh. "He did." "Then listen," I said. "Cops will be around for a week. You don't go near the house. You let him simmer. And if Ethan wants it now? Then Ethan will have to do it himself." "That's not my problem," the voice said, and signed off. Ethan had escalated. I had to stop playing defense. The next morning I invited Ethan to breakfast. He arrived late, eyes red, jacket thrown on. No charm. He froze when he saw my scanner on the table, his gaze snapping to it like it was a gun. "You still playing with that thing?" he asked. Still listening. He sat, hands trembling around his coffee. "Dad, those men could have hurt you. Could have hurt Lily." "Yes." He offered cameras and alarms. "You shouldn't be alone." "I've been alone a long time." He asked why I hadn't called him. I slid my legal pad across the table. The notes. Porch light, routine, safe. His face drained. "You were very specific," I said. "Tell me why." "Why what?" he snapped, standing. "Why did men with radios know my habits?" I asked. "Why was your name on their tongues like a password?" "This is insane," he said. "I have recordings." He froze. I pressed play. Static, then Ethan's voice. "Friday night is best." His face twisted. He lunged for the scanner. I yanked it back and stood, suddenly not an old man, but a father made of granite. "Do not touch that." His hand dropped. The lie collapsed. He sank into the chair, hands over his face. "I didn't want to hurt you," he whispered. "But you were willing to scare me," I said. "Willing to bring strangers into my house. I told them not to go upstairs. As if that makes it clean." "You don't understand," he said, tears slipping through his fingers. "Then make me understand." "I needed it," he whispered. "Money." "So you decided to rob your father?" "Not rob, insurance," he said, desperate. "If it looked like a real break-in, the claim would pay. Quick, clean. You'd get new stuff. You'd be angry, but okay." "You thought wrong." He admitted he hadn't had time to vet anyone. No time. That sounded like a clue. "What's going on?" I asked. "What did you get yourself into?" He paced, frantic, promising to fix it, to confess. "Dad, please." Then his phone rang. He stared at the screen and went white. He declined it. It rang again. Again. He finally answered. "Not now." A sharp voice bled through. "Where is it? Where is the money? He promised—" Ethan flinched. "Stop calling. I'm handling it." More shouting. "I said I'm handling it," he yelled, then hung up and looked at me with panic. "You have to let this go," he whispered. My blood chilled. "Who was that?" "No one," he lied. "Ethan." He broke. "I borrowed. I thought I could pay it back fast. I thought the claim would come through and wipe it out." Borrowed from who, he wouldn't say, but I could hear the teeth in that unseen debt. "Get out," I said. "Dad, get out of my house. Don't come back until you're ready to tell me the full truth." At the door he turned, wet-eyed. "I'm sorry." I didn't answer. Sorry doesn't erase strangers' footsteps in your hallway. That night I called Lily. She answered cheerful, then, after a tiny pause, thin. "How are you feeling?" I asked. "I'm okay." In the background I heard an adult cough, wet, exhausted. Jenna. Lily whispered, "Grandpa, Daddy was crying yesterday." "Why?" "He hugged me tight and said he was sorry for being away." Away. He hadn't been away, just gone in other ways. "He said he'd do anything to make me better," Lily whispered. "Make you better?" Then came the question that hit like a fist. "Grandpa, am I expensive?" Treatment, hospital, special medicine. I felt pieces click together with sickening precision. "You are not a bill," I told her. "You are my heart." When we hung up, I sat in the dark, then got up and did what I should have done the moment I heard Ethan on the radio. I stopped thinking like a betrayed father and started thinking like a grandfather. At dawn, I drove to Jenna's. She opened the door hollow-eyed. Inside, the house smelled like soup and antiseptic. On the counter, a folder of hospital paperwork half hidden under a dish towel. I read enough. Diagnosis, plan, a cost that made my stomach drop. Jenna's voice cracked. "Ethan told you?" "No, Lily did," she cried. "She's not supposed to know." "She knows." "How long?" I asked. "Since summer." Months of Ethan holding his breath. "Why didn't he come to me?" I asked. "Pride, shame, fear," Jenna said. "He kept saying he could fix it." "Did he borrow from someone?" "Yes." She whispered a name I didn't recognize. I didn't need to. The kind of men who scream through phones don't work for banks. "Where is Ethan?" I asked. "I don't know. He left last night. Said he had to handle something." I called him. He answered breathless. I said, "I know about Lily." Silence, then a broken sound. He gave me an address, an industrial strip of warehouses and empty lots, the kind of place bad decisions meet consequences. "Stay there," I told him. "Do not do anything stupid." "I'm sorry," he choked. "I'll decide what you are after I see you." Jenna mouthed, "Don't. Call the police." I thought of my recordings, of how quickly Ethan could be painted as a criminal instead of a desperate father. I thought of Lily. "Not yet," I said. At the industrial strip, Ethan's car sat crooked near a loading dock. Ethan stood with shoulders hunched. Two men leaned against a wall smoking, predatory boredom. One straightened when he saw my truck. "Who's the old guy?" "That's my father," Ethan said, voice shaking. The smirk widened. "Convenient. Family business." I walked up slowly. No weapon. Just leverage and the kind of calm you earn by surviving long enough to stop caring what strangers think. My son is done borrowing from you, I said. He laughed. He's done? Cute. You're right, I said. Words don't matter. I held up my phone and pressed play. Static, then Ethan's recorded voice explaining the staged break-in, the claim, making it look real. Their expressions changed, not fear. Interest, then caution. Criminals hate attention that isn't theirs. If anything happens to my son, I said, these recordings go to 3 places. Police, insurance, media. Media? The second man said sharply. Local stations love a story, I said. A man hires thieves to rob his father for insurance and ends up tied to... I stopped. I wouldn't put Lily's illness in strangers' mouths. Reasons you don't need to know, I finished. Either way, you become part of it. You're bluffing, the first man said. I'm 71, I replied. I don't bluff. I follow through because I don't have time left for games. He owes, the second man said. I'll pay, I said. Ethan jerked. Dad, I cut him off with a look. I'll pay because my granddaughter will not suffer because my son panicked. How much? The first man asked, greed lighting his eyes. I named a number. Cash, he said, smiling. Bank transfer, I said. Documented. He frowned. Take it or leave it, I said. Leave it, you get nothing and you get exposure. They looked at each other, then the second one shrugged. Fine, but if he tries this again... He won't, I said. They walked away, bored again, calculating. When they were gone, Ethan broke, sobbing like a child. I didn't know what to do, he choked. The bills, the denial. They said the drug wasn't covered. The specialist said we needed it and Lily... Stop, I said softly. Breathe. I didn't want to ask you, he said. I didn't want you to look at me like a failure. I stared at him in that empty lot. My anger turned heavy and complicated. You didn't just fail, I said. You chose something unforgivable. You brought criminals into my home. He flinched. And you let your daughter feel like a burden. His face crumpled. Do you understand what it did to me? I said, voice shaking. Hearing you plan it like I was furniture. Like I was an obstacle between you and money. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't hug him. Not then. But I didn't leave him either. That's the truth of being a father and grandfather. You can be furious and still refuse to abandon the people you love. Get in the truck, I said. Where are we going? We're going to see Lily, I said. And then we're going to fix this the right way. How? He asked, small. I met his eyes. Together. And with honesty. No more secrets. No more criminals. No more lies. The weeks after weren't clean or cinematic. They were paperwork, calls, meetings, schedules, the slow grind of medicine and money. I used my retirement savings without hesitation. I sold a piece of property I'd been holding out of stubborn sentiment. I called an old telecom friend who'd gone into hospital administration and asked how the system really worked, who to talk to, which doors to knock on without begging in hallways. Ethan wanted to turn himself in. Jenna begged him not to, terrified of what it would do to Lily if her father vanished into jail. I made a choice I'm not proud of and not ashamed of either. I kept the recordings. I didn't erase them. I held them as a leash and a reminder. Ethan would spend the rest of his life earning back trust, and he wouldn't do it with speeches, only actions. He took a second job, nights, weekends, anything. He sat at Lily's bedside when she was scared and didn't talk about money. He talked about her science project. He listened when she asked if her hair would fall out. He didn't lie, and he didn't let fear run the room. I also visited the 3 idiots who broke into my house, at a police station interview room with an officer present, after I handed over enough evidence to hold them accountable, but not enough for them to bargain themselves into freedom by burning Ethan in a way that would shatter Lily. Deep Voice tried to act tough until I played audio of him bragging about clean, easy money. His confidence died. Question cried. High Voice couldn't stop talking. Cornered stupid gets stupider, and they gave up names, numbers, the small network connecting them. It wasn't heroic. It was necessary. I refused to let Ethan's desperation drag more poison into Lily's life, or grow into a pattern. A month after the break-in, I sat by Lily's hospital bed while she slept, face small in the dim light, machines beeping steady. I felt the full weight of what almost happened. 3 men in my hallway, Lily upstairs, my son gambling with her safety. Ethan sat across the room, eyes red, hands clasped like a man praying without words. I didn't deserve you, he whispered. I looked at him a long time. No, I said softly. You didn't. He flinched. But Lily deserves both of us, I continued. So you're going to become a man who deserves her. How? He asked. By never doing that again, I said. By asking for help before you choose something unforgivable. By telling the truth even when it humiliates you. He nodded, throat working, and for the first time since I heard his voice on my radio, he didn't argue or defend or try to control. He just said, I will. That didn't erase what he did. It didn't fix the crack in me. But it gave me something to hold besides rage. Later, when Lily was strong enough to come home for a weekend, she sat at my kitchen table coloring, tongue out in concentration. She glanced up. Grandpa? Yes, sweetheart. Was Daddy really going to let bad guys take your stuff? My hand froze on my coffee. I chose honesty she could carry. Daddy made a very bad choice. He tried to solve a problem the wrong way. Because of me? She asked, frowning. No, I said firmly. Not because of you. Because he was scared. And when people are scared, they sometimes forget how to be good. She stared at her coloring page. I don't want people to do bad things for me. Then you keep doing what you've been doing, I told her. What? Fighting, I said. Being brave, telling the truth, loving people. That's the best reason anyone can have to be good. She nodded slowly, like she was storing it with her science facts. Then she smiled, small but real. And the whole story snapped into focus. Ethan wasn't trying to get rich. He was trying to buy time, trying to buy his daughter a future. He just chose a path that could have destroyed her instead. I looked at the scanner on my shelf, silent now, and understood something bitter and final. That radio didn't just catch a crime. It caught a man falling apart. And it caught an old grandfather deciding that even betrayal wouldn't be the end of his family. Not if I had anything to say about it. Because I did what Ethan and those idiots never expected. I listened. I acted. I outsmarted them. And when the truth came out at the end, it didn't excuse what my son did, but it changed what I did next. I didn't bury him. I didn't pretend it never happened. I held him accountable. And I held him up. Because Lily needed her father alive, present, honest. And for the first time in a long time, I saw Ethan trying to become that man. Not because he wanted forgiveness, but because he finally understood the question his daughter asked in that soft, trembling voice. Am I expensive? And he wanted to spend the rest of his life proving the answer was no, not with money, but with love, with truth, and with the kind of courage that doesn't hide behind a lie on a radio channel.
My grandpa's words really happened. I believe him. If you want more true tales like this, hit subscribe.